Turns out some of my predictions have come true, and now we have some official first-hand looks at whatever this is going to be called, but now the running name is the Pixel 3 Lite edition. And guess what? There's a surprise cameo. There's a surprise reunion return of a little feature that a lot of people appreciate, the headphone jack, except this time it's on the top again instead of the bottom. Oh, okay. The Pixel 3 Lite rumor appears to be growing, and based on how legit rumors and leaked photos have been in the past with the Pixel brand, I'm gonna go ahead and say I think these pictures are absolutely 100% real. Maybe Google's bamboozling us and they want us to think, no, can we just stop with that? No. This is it, all right? Screw the keynote, screw the event, you don't need any of that. I'm telling you what it looks like, here it is. Basically, it's made out of plastic, there's no more stereo speakers, there's no expandable storage, it's fixed at 32 gigabytes of storage, which is a pretty low number to be releasing in Q1 of 2019. The Fingerprint Reader is still on the back. It still has an above 1080p display, so Lou doesn't have to circulate his opinions to it nicely that hard. Of course, battery's non-removable, charges with USB-C, is supposed to support some type of fast charging technology. One camera on the front, one camera on the back. And what are my impressions of it now that we basically know exactly what it looks like? Well, I still think that a lot of this product's success depends on its price point. Now, the leaks and rumors I've been reading say it starts somewhere between $400 and $500, and if that's true, I think this could genuinely be good, because if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that since the beginning I've been saying the Pixel phones would be so much more decent and so much more enjoyable if they were aimed at a budget market. In fact, it would help Google in their ideology of we don't need extra hardware, we don't need the best hardware because we use AI, and using artificial intelligence and machine learning, that's how we can make a quality product. Like with that ideology, you could be like, see, we don't have to have all the hardware other companies have, so we save on parts, and that way we can keep the phones cheaper. If that was their selling point, I think they would really have a market going for them. But the fact of the matter is they don't have that budget affordable line, and it appears that a lot of the Pixel marketing strategy is to just be expensive like an iPhone, and then hope that success comes along with it. And numbers have shown us that the Pixel line has not been tremendously successful, and given Apple's not even giving out smartphone shipment units anymore, I doubt that Google will be anyway. I don't think they did originally, but in 2017 they sold under 4 million units, and that was a pretty big upgrade. You know, switching from the OG Pixel to the Pixel 2, there was a lot of changes there. There was a big design change, but switching from the Pixel 2 to the Pixel 3 I think was definitely more of an S upgrade, which means that I imagine the numbers for the 3 and the 3 XL have to be pretty low, because even putting aside all of the quality control issues and all the charging problems and all of the scratching, all of that stuff put aside, I think release-wise, with the price and what you get out of the phone, it was not the biggest steal of the year, and it was not the most exciting release of the year. The most exciting thing this phone has going for it is Night Shot. I've used it a little bit. It's impressive, but it should be an app. It should not be a $800, $900 purchase. Again, it's cool, but should not be exclusive to this crappy hardware that doesn't even let you change the frame rate of your video. Regardless, though, a lot of the reasons people like the Pixel line, I think, will carry over nicely to the Pixel 3 Lite, and I think the fact that they're bringing back the headphone jack, bizarrely putting it on the top, but I guess they're staying sort of consistent because the OG Pixel had a headphone jack on the top. What am I talking about? Google and consistency should not go together. I mean, they mocked Apple for removing it, then removed it themselves last year on the Pixel 2, and then this year released the Pixel 3 also with no headphone jack, and then in 2019 go, you know what, actually, let's put it back on there. Could you guys make up your mind, please? Can you just settle on something? I don't know what it is, but just make up your mind. So obviously, it's a bit of a smaller phone. It's not the prettiest thing on the market. It has a fairly noticeable sized chin, but at least it's about the same size as the forehead. I assume that there's no front-facing ultra-wide selfie camera that they added with the 3 and the 3 XL. But again, I have to reiterate that the price of this thing really will make or break it. I think if they get the price right, the Pixel 3 Lite could very simply destroy the success of the Pixel 3 and 3 XL. Because if all you're really going for is just the camera is good and you want a stock Android experience, you're gonna get a lot of the similar stuff with the Pixel 3 Lite. Now, it does have a fairly dated Snapdragon chip, or fairly slow one, which, seeing how they manage power on the Pixel 3 XL with the Snapdragon 845, I imagine that even this Snapdragon is probably not going to be utilized that correctly, given they don't try to cool down the CPU at all. There's no efficiency brought in. It's noticeably slower than other phones that have the Snapdragon 845, and we're not really sure why, other than Google was like, cooling system, we don't need that. that, just slap a CPU in there. So the fact that Google's bad at optimizing CPUs and now they're using a actual slow CPU means that this thing could be fairly laggy. And given when I take portrait shots or when I take night shot, obviously it takes, you know, a few seconds for the Pixel camera to actually load the image. You take the picture and then you pretty much have to wait like a full 6 seconds before the picture's done processing. I imagine that process could become elongated with the Pixel 3 Lite having an even slower CPU. So basically all I'm trying to say is that a lot of the hardware problems we've had with the 3 and the 3 XL could be very much carried over and compounded when you buy an even cheaper phone. But if the rumors are true and this thing ends up, let's say right in the middle at $450, that's a very ambitious starting price and honestly would probably do very, very well in countries overseas like India or China. And if they can cater to those markets, this thing could be an overseas success. I don't imagine the Pixel 3 Lite selling very well in the US, especially releasing a smartphone in Q1 of 2019, which is what the rumors are saying. Google doesn't have a very consistent lineup other than release Pixel in October. And now we have this budget phone that they're saying it's not going to come out in October of 2019. It's going to come out in just a few months. If Google is switching to the 2 smartphone refresh in 2019, then we're not really sure what the schedule is. Now, what could easily make the Pixel 3 Lite a hard pass is if they don't price it as well as we're expecting, which would be the Google thing to do. If they end up charging $550 for the Pixel 3 Lite, then you basically have to say, do you want a OnePlus 6T, really cool, really feature-packed phone, or do you want this hunk of garbage? And then I think the Pixel 3 Lite is kind of just dead on arrival. Even if it's $500, it's like, just spend the extra $50 and get a OnePlus phone. It's going to be so much better, both in looks and probably function and probably in speed. Maybe not camera because you don't have Google's AI working as hard on the OnePlus, but overall, I think there's a lot more that the OnePlus has going for it than the Pixel 3 Lite does. But I think to me, adding the headphone jack to the budget line is kind of a really desperate move by Google because clearly they think that a headphone jack isn't important in a premium smartphone, as they've showed us in 2017 and 2018, but their sales must not be doing very well. So they're kind of like, I mean, let's just try to find any demographic we can. Let's cater to the budget market. Let's cater to the headphone jack loyalists so we can get some type of user base, because right now they probably don't have that many. Maybe they're seeing OnePlus ditch the headphone jack and saying, okay, now is our chance. To the people out there who desperately need a headphone jack, there, you can have it on the cheap option. What if I want to pay $900 for a good Pixel phone? Can I have the headphone jack there? No, you can't. Premium doesn't get certain features. Only budget phones will get those features. It's kind of confusing, kind of weird. But once again, I will bring up my argument with the placement of the headphone jack, the same one I brought up when I tested the OG Pixel when I was back in the attic. If you put the fingerprint reader on the top third of your phone, I believe the idea is to put the phone in your pocket downward like this, so that when you reach into your pocket, your finger rests on the fingerprint reader, and then by the time you pick it up, the screen is facing you, which is why it's confusing to me that they want to add the headphone jack to the top of the phone, because then the wire has to curve under when it goes in your pocket, because when you're listening to headphones, now you have to put it in backwards like this so that the headphone jack's facing outward, but then the fingerprint reader doesn't line up as well because you have to lift it out like this and then put the finger on it and then pick it up with the other. It's not intuitive. Clearly they didn't watch my video on that. Or otherwise, if you were gonna add the headphone jack back, that's fine. Just put it on the bottom if you're gonna have the fingerprint reader be on the back and that placement of it. I don't get the mindset of it. But what do you guys think? Pixel 3 Lite, is it gonna sell well? Could this save the Pixel brand and turn it into something actually interesting? Or is this probably gonna be another Google flop that's gonna ship with a whole nother wave of hardware issues? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.